I'm sitting here tonight looking at Brandon Mitchell through a pair of handcuffs, and I want you to know exactly how we got to this moment. My name is Rick Donovan. I'm 58 years old, and last Saturday night I watched my son-in-law drop something into my bourbon when he thought nobody was looking. He smiled at me across the table at the VFW hall, that same confident smile that had won my daughter's heart 5 years ago. What he didn't know was that I'd been watching him for months. What he didn't know was that the glass he'd just poisoned wasn't the one I was going to drink. Before I tell you what happened when his own brother Kevin took that drink instead, drop your city in the comments and hit subscribe if you believe that underestimating a steelworker is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. The memorial dinner was simple but nice. Dorothy would have liked it. We'd rented the main hall at the Pittsburgh VFW Post 92, the same place where we'd had our wedding reception 32 years ago. White tablecloths, yellow roses on every table, and a small band playing the songs she used to hum while making breakfast. I'd spent about $15,000 on this dinner, money I could afford after selling Donovan Steel Works for $42 million just 3 months earlier. 15 guests showed up, old steel workers from the plant, suppliers I'd worked with for decades, guys from the Union Hall, even some city council members who remembered when I'd started with nothing but a pickup truck and a welding torch. But this wasn't really a celebration, it was a trap. I stood at the head table looking out at the crowd. There was my family table where my daughter Patty sat next to her husband Brandon. She looked tired, the way she always looked these days. That light in her eyes was almost gone. She kept glancing at Brandon before she spoke, waiting for some kind of permission. Brandon was talking to everyone like always. 38 years old. Expensive suit. Watch that cost more than my first house. He called himself a financial advisor, said he managed portfolios for wealthy clients. The kind of guy who used big words to hide simple lies. Next to him sat his brother Kevin, a lawyer who specialized in what he called elder care law. Quieter than Brandon, but his eyes were always moving, always looking for an angle. Together they reminded me of two guys I'd fired years ago for skimming steel shipments, smooth talkers who thought they were smarter than everybody else. I tapped the microphone and the feedback cut through the room. "Friends," I said, my voice steady. "Thank you for coming tonight." Dorothy always said I spent too much on everything, and she'd probably be complaining about the flowers right about now. Everyone laughed. It felt good to hear that sound. 32 years, I continued. 32 years, since that stubborn woman agreed to marry a kid with grease under his fingernails who thought he could build something with his bare hands. She believed in me when the banks wouldn't give me a dime. She worked the books while I worked the floor. We built Donovan Steel together, rivet by rivet. I paused, looking at Patty. She was crying, dabbing her eyes with a napkin. Brandon had his hand on her shoulder, but he wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me, and his smile didn't reach his eyes. "And now," I said, raising my glass, "I'm surrounded by the people she loved most. My daughter, my family, my friends." The room echoed the toast to Dorothy. I watched Brandon carefully. He raised his glass, took a sip, then set it down. His eyes flicked to my glass, the one he thought he'd doctored. He was waiting for something, a stumble, slurred words, any sign that the drug was working. I excused myself to greet some old friends from the plant. As I moved through the crowd, shaking hands and accepting condolences, I kept Brandon in my peripheral vision. He was relaxed now, confident. He thought the hard part was over. Big mistake. I made my way back to the table from behind, approaching where the brothers were sitting. "See, there's something about being 58 and working with steel for 35 years. You learn to move quietly, to pay attention to details. Nobody notices an old steel worker at a party." As I passed behind Kevin's chair, I stumbled, just a little, the kind of stumble you'd expect from a guy who'd had a long day and maybe one bourbon too many. I caught myself on Kevin's chair, and my hand swept across the table. The switch took maybe 2 seconds. "Sorry about that," I said, patting Kevin on the shoulder. "These old legs aren't what they used to be." Kevin barely looked up, just nodded, and reached for his glass, the glass that had been sitting in front of me moments before. He took a long drink. I sat back down. The glass in front of me now was clean, safe. I raised it to my lips and pretended to drink, watching Brandon watch me over the rim. His smile started to fade when I didn't show any signs of the drug taking effect. And then Kevin made a sound. It started as a cough, but then Kevin's hand went to his throat. His face, which had been red from the wine, suddenly went white as paper. He tried to stand, but his legs gave out. He grabbed the edge of the table, sending glasses crashing to the floor. Brandon shouted, jumping up, "What's wrong?" But Kevin couldn't answer. His eyes rolled back and he collapsed, his body jerking in violent spasms on the VFW hall floor. Chaos erupted. Someone screamed. A waiter dropped his tray. People rushed forward, forming a circle around Kevin's convulsing body. "Call 911, someone yelled. "Give him space. Is there a doctor here?" I didn't move. I just sat in my chair, watching, and then I looked at Brandon. He wasn't looking at his brother, he was staring at me. His face was white, his hands shaking, and in his eyes I saw something I'd been waiting months to see. Fear. The ambulance arrived in 6 minutes. The paramedics worked on Kevin right there on the floor, stabilizing him before loading him onto a stretcher. The memorial dinner was over. The yellow roses were trampled underfoot as guests were ushered out. I followed the ambulance to Allegheny General in my own car. My lawyer, Pete Kowalski, minus a guy I'd known since high school, was driving. "It worked," I said quietly. Pete didn't smile. We'd just watched a man nearly die. But that man had been coming for me, and now we finally had proof. The emergency room was harsh fluorescent lights and the smell of disinfectant. Brandon was pacing in the waiting area. Patty sat in a plastic chair, crying into her hands. I walked over and put my hand on her shoulder. "Dad," she whispered, looking up at me. "Kevin just collapsed. He was fine 1 minute. Then, 'I know, sweetheart,' I said. 'I know.'" Brandon stopped pacing and looked at me with those cold eyes. "You were sitting right there, Rick. Did you see anything? Did Kevin eat something strange? Drink something?" I shook my head slowly. "I don't know, Brandon. I'm just an old steelworker. I don't notice much." He stared at me for a long moment. I could see him trying to figure out what had gone wrong. He'd put the drug in my glass. He'd watched me raise it to my lips. So why was I standing here perfectly fine while his brother was fighting for his life? The answer was simple. He hadn't actually watched me drink. He'd assumed. And assuming anything about a guy who spent 35 years in the steel business is a dangerous mistake. A doctor came out, young woman with tired eyes and a clipboard. "Family for Kevin Mitchell?" We all stood up. "He's stable," she said. "We pumped his stomach and got most of it out of his system. But I need to tell you what we found." She looked at each of us. His blood work came back positive for rohypnol. That's the date rape drug. In the amount we found, it would cause severe disorientation, memory loss, and seizures like what Mr. Mitchell experienced. Patty gasped. "Someone drugged him." The doctor's expression was grim. "This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate poisoning. I'm required by law to report this to the police." Brandon's face was a mask, but I could see the sweat on his forehead, the slight tremor in his hands. The police arrived within an hour. 2 detectives interviewed each of us separately in a small consultation room. When it was Brandon's turn, he walked in with that confident stride and charming smile. He was in there for 40 minutes. When he came out, the smile was gone. When they called me in, I sat down across from them and waited. "Mr. Donovan," Detective Rodriguez said, "can you tell us what you observed tonight?" I rubbed my eyes like a tired old man. "Not much, I'm afraid. My memory isn't what it used to be. I was greeting guests, making small talk. Kevin was at the table when I came back. Few minutes later, he collapsed." "Did you see anyone near his drink?" I shook my head. "I'm sorry, Detective. I just don't remember." She studied me for a moment, then nodded. "Thank you, Mr. Donovan. We may have more questions later, of course," I said. "Anything to help?" I walked out and found Brandon in the hallway watching me. "Rough night," I said mildly. He didn't respond, just stared with those calculating eyes, trying to figure out how his perfect plan had gone wrong. I patted him on the shoulder. "Get some rest, son. You look like you've seen a ghost." "See, this whole thing started 4 months ago. Right after I sold Donovan Steel Works. 35 years of my life, sold to a national manufacturing conglomerate for $42 million. I wasn't sad, I was tired. Dorothy had been gone for 18 months, and without her, the work felt empty. But then Brandon started asking questions about my money. We were at dinner, just the 3 of us, about a month after the sale closed. "Rick," he said, always using my first name like we were buddies, "I've been thinking about your portfolio. 42 million is serious money. You need active management, strategic investment." I smiled politely. "I appreciate the concern, Brandon, but I have my own people." He leaned forward, intense. "Your people are old school, Rick. They don't understand modern markets. I manage portfolios worth twice what you've got." I declined politely. The following week, Patty called. She sounded nervous, rehearsed. "Dad, Brandon, and I have been talking. We're worried about you managing all that money alone. Maybe you should let Brandon help." That's when I called Pete Kowalski. Something's wrong, I told him. I need you to look into Brandon. Pete had been handling legal work for the steel company for 20 years. He was thorough. 2 weeks later, he came to my house with a manila folder. You were right to be suspicious, he said, spreading documents across my kitchen table. Brandon Mitchell isn't really a financial advisor. He's got the license, but he hasn't had a legitimate client in 2 years. Then, what does he do? Pete pulled out bank statements. Runs a Ponzi scheme. Small scale, but growing. Takes money from new investors, pays returns to old investors. Classic pyramid. I stared at the papers. How much does he owe, best estimate? About $3.8 million. And his creditors aren't the patient type. So Brandon had married my daughter to get to my money. I wasn't surprised. I was angry. But anger is a young man's emotion. At 58, I'd learned to channel that anger into something useful. What about Kevin? Pete pulled out another document. Elder law specialist, guardianship and conservatorship cases specifically. I felt cold. They're not just trying to steal my money. They're trying to take control of me. PT nodded. If they can get you declared mentally incompetent, they become your legal guardians, complete control over your assets, medical decisions, everything. And Patty? Pete hesitated. She might not know Brandon's controlling. She could be a victim too. I looked at the evidence spread across my table. So what do we do? Pete looked at me with steady eyes. We set a trap. The memorial dinner was my idea. A grand event, 150 guests. The perfect setting for Brandon to make his move. I knew he was desperate. His debts were coming due. His scheme was collapsing. In the weeks before the party, I started acting confused, forgot names, repeated stories, left my car keys in strange places. I let Brandon catch me staring blankly at financial documents like I couldn't understand them. Dad, Patty said one evening, "Are you feeling okay? You seem distant." "Just tired, sweetheart." I said, old age catching up with me. But I watched her exchange a look with Brandon. A look that said, "This is working." Pete hired security to install hidden cameras in my house. We monitored Brandon's phone calls, emails, meetings. 3 days before the party, we caught him on camera in my study talking to Kevin. "Saturday night," Brandon said, voice low, "the memorial dinner. Rick will be emotional, off balance. I'll put the rohypnol in his drink during the toast. He'll start acting confused, slurring his words. Everyone there will see him having a breakdown. Then what?" Kevin's voice through the speakerphone. "Emergency guardianship petition. I file Monday morning. By Tuesday we control his accounts." "And Patty?" Brandon laughed, a cold, ugly sound. "She'll do whatever I tell her. Once the old man's locked up in a facility, she won't have anyone else." Pete stopped the recording. "That's enough. We have him." I shook my head. "Not yet. I want him to try it. I want him to think he's won. Then I want to watch his face when it all falls apart, and that's exactly what happened." 3 days after Kevin's poisoning, Brandon called me. His voice was tight, controlled. "Rick, we need to talk about Patty. She's very upset about Kevin, and she's worried about you. We all are, of course," I said, playing my part. "Should I come over?" "Actually, we were thinking we'd come to you. Family meeting. Patty, me, and a friend. A doctor who specializes in cases like this. A doctor, of course. Some corrupt physician who'd rubber stamp whatever diagnosis Brandon needed." "That sounds fine," I said, letting my voice waver. "I've been so confused lately." "Good," Brandon said, and I heard the triumph in his voice. "We'll be there at 7. I hung up and called Pete. "They're coming tonight, 700 bringing their fake doctor." "We're ready," Pete said. "My team's in position. Cameras are rolling. Police are standing by." They arrived at 7 sharp, Brandon, Patty, and a distinguished man in his 60s with silver hair. He introduced himself as Dr. Richard Hartley, geriatric psychiatry specialist. Pete had already checked him out. His real name was Victor Sloan, medical license revoked 3 years ago for falsifying records. Rick Hartley said, extending his hand, "Your family's very concerned about you." I shook his hand weakly. "I don't understand. Patty, what's happening?" Patty was crying. "It's okay, Dad. He's here to help." Brandon guided me to my own couch like I was a confused child. "Just sit down, Rick. Everything's going to be fine." I sat, let my hands tremble, let my voice shake. "I don't understand what's happening." Hartley sat across from me, practiced concern on his face. "Rick, your family tells me you've been experiencing confusion lately, forgetting things, having difficulty managing your affairs." I shook my head. "I don't think so. I feel fine. Denial is common." Hartley said smoothly, Your family loves you. They want you safe. Brandon stepped forward. Dad, we've been talking to people, doctors, lawyers. Time for you to step back from managing your finances. Let someone handle the stress. There it was, the pitch. I don't know, I stammered. This is sudden. It's not sudden, Brandon said, voice hardening. We've seen the signs for months. And what happened to Kevin? Someone drugged him, Rick. In your confused state, you might have done something you don't remember. The room went silent. Patty gasped. I'm not accusing anyone, Brandon said, holding up his hands. I'm saying Rick needs help, somewhere safe where he can't hurt himself or others. I stood up, body shaking with manufactured fear. You're trying to put me away, take my money and lock me up. Hartley stood approaching me. No one's trying to hurt you. Just sign these papers and we can get you the care you need. He produced guardianship documents, power of attorney forms, psychiatric facility consent papers. I stared at them. I won't sign anything, Brandon stepped closer. Mask slipping. You don't have a choice, old man, he said quietly. You're going to sign, or I'll tell the police you drugged Kevin. Your fingerprints were all over that table. Who do you think they'll believe? A successful financial advisor or a senile steelworker who can't find his car keys? I looked into his eyes and dropped my mask. That, I said, voice suddenly clear and strong, is an excellent question. Brandon. Brandon froze. Pete, I called out. Did you get all that? The door to my study opened. Pete Kowalski walked out, holding a tablet. Behind him came two plainclothes officers and a man with a video camera, red recording light blinking. Brandon's face went white. What is this? This, Pete said calmly, is a recording of you attempting to fraudulently commit a mentally competent man to a psychiatric facility. Also a recording of you admitting to conspiracy and threatening to frame him for a crime you committed. The officers moved forward. Brandon Mitchell, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted elder abuse, and assault with a controlled substance. Assault? Brandon's voice cracked. I didn't assault anyone. Kevin was an accident. The drug was meant for. He stopped, but too late. Meant for who? The officer asked. Mr. Donovan here? The man whose drink you drugged? Brandon had no answer. They cuffed him, cuffed Hartley too. As they led them toward the door, Patty screamed. Brandon, tell them you didn't do this. He didn't even look at her. Get off me. This is your fault, you and your pathetic family. If you'd just convinced him to sign over the money, none of this would have happened. Patty staggered backward like she'd been slapped. Then Pete played the final recording footage from Brandon's home office 2 weeks earlier. Brandon on the phone laughing, Patty's clueless. She thinks I love her. 6 years of pretending to care about her boring life. But once we get the old man's money, I'm filing for divorce. Give her a few $100,000 and I'm gone. The silence afterward was absolute. He never loved me. Patty whispered. Everything was a lie. I put my arms around my daughter. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. She collapsed against me, sobbing. I didn't know, Dad. I believed everything he said. I know, I said, holding her tight. I know. The trials came 8 months later. Brandon's case was straightforward. The video evidence was ironclad. He got 15 years federal prison. Victor Sloan pleaded guilty and testified against Brandon for 5 years. Kevin got 12 years for conspiracy after emails between the brothers showed he knew everything. I was in the courtroom for every verdict. Watched Brandon's face when the foreman said guilty. The arrogance drained out of him, replaced by something small and desperate. Patty didn't recover easily. How could she? 6 years married to a con man, believing every lie, doubting her own father. She moved back home for a while, spent time in her old room surrounded by memories of who she used to be. But slowly, she started coming back. Got a job at an architecture firm using the degree Brandon had convinced her to abandon. Started running again. Started laughing. Real laughs, not the nervous ones she'd been giving for years. 8 months after the trials, she came to me in my study. Dad, she said, I need to tell you something. She sat across from me, hands folded. I knew. Part of me knew something was wrong with Brandon. I felt it every day for years. Why didn't you say something? Because I was afraid, tears streaming down her face. Afraid that admitting the truth meant facing that I'd wasted my life, that I'd married a monster, that I'd betrayed you. I reached across and took her hand. You didn't betray me, sweetheart. I did. I believed him over you. I doubted you. I squeezed her hand, but you're here now. That's what matters. You're healing, finding your way back to yourself. She looked at me with Dorothy's eyes, full of pain and hope. How can you not hate me? I smiled. Because you're my daughter, because I love you. Because the woman Brandon tried to turn you into isn't who you really are. I didn't retire after all that. The $42 million felt heavy, tainted by everything that happened. I wanted it to mean something. Pete and I talked about it over lunch. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? I thought about it. Help people. Old folks being targeted by their own families. People who don't have resources to fight back. Pete nodded. We could start a foundation. You'd give up your practice for a non-profit? Pete smiled. Rick, I've spent 30 years helping rich people get richer. Maybe it's time I did something that matters, so we did it. The Donovan Foundation. 6 months later, we had young lawyers and investigators who specialized in financial crimes set up a hotline for elderly people who suspected family exploitation. The calls started immediately. Woman in Florida whose son was trying to get her committed. Man in Arizona whose daughter-in-law was poisoning him. Couple in Minnesota whose nephew had stolen $300,000. We helped them all. Every time we stopped a predator, every time we put a con artist in prison, I thought about Brandon and smiled. Patty works at the foundation now. Started as a volunteer, became director of victim services. She sits with families, tells her story, shows them it's possible to survive this. I'm proud of her, prouder than I've ever been. Last week, a young man came to my office. Mr. Donovan, my grandmother's in trouble. Her new boyfriend's trying to take everything. The family lawyer says there's nothing we can do. I looked at this grandson who loved his grandmother enough to fight for her. Thought about Brandon, about the trial, about Patty and how far she'd come. Sit down, I said. Tell me everything, he talked. I listened. When he finished, I picked up the phone and called Pete. We have a new case. Get the team together. I hung up and looked at the young man. We're going to help your grandmother. That's a promise. He started crying. Thank you so much. I walked him to the door, and as I watched him leave, I thought about what Brandon had said that night. Who do you think they'll believe? A successful financial advisor or a senile steelworker? They believed the steelworker, Brandon. Every word. That's the lesson here. Never underestimate an old man with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. Never mistake patience for weakness or kindness for surrender. Because the moment you do, that's when the trap springs shut. My name is Rick Donovan. I'm 58 years old, built a steel company from nothing, and learned that sometimes the best revenge is letting a man destroy himself with his own greed. After 35 years in business, I know this much is true. Predators always underestimate their prey. They see gray hair and think weakness. They see trust and think stupidity. But here's what they miss. Experience isn't just age, it's armor. And when someone comes for your family, for everything you've built, you don't get mad, you get methodical. Drop a comment and tell me what you think. Did Brandon get what he deserved? And if you have a story of your own, reach out. The wolves are always watching, but so are we.